Today I'm going to show you how to steam a Christmas pudding. You can find the recipe for the Christmas pudding I made on my blog, but this method should work with just about any Christmas pudding. As you can see, it's a pretty dry and crumbly mixture. I even added an egg to this, so this is not quite as crumbly as a normal Christmas pudding mixture. A lot of the moisture comes from the steaming, and a lot of it is holding together from the pressure of the towel that you wrap it in. I always use just a cotton dish towel, just a plain thin kind. I've heard people say linen. This is what I have. It's always worked for me. And I'm just running it here under very hot tap water. So it's all nice and hot. And then I will squeeze out as much of the water as I can. And honestly, I don't understand some of the procedure, but it's Christmas pudding and I don't want to mess with it. So these are the rules, as I understand them, of steaming a Christmas pudding. And somewhere here, I have flour to sprinkle on that. There it is. So, sprinkle. I'm using the same white flour with the wheat germ, just the wheat bran removed, that I used in the Christmas pudding. No phytates because the bran is gone, but all the nutrients of the wheat germ. So I just kind of dump out the mixture here. I start to squeeze it together with my hands so it starts to hold together. And this will come out very dense. If you think like a really dense bread pudding, that's the end texture that you want with a Christmas pudding. And then I take two corners and I tie it as tight as I can. It really, like I said, it really needs to be a tight, dense container. And then I take the other two ends and then just do a simple knot again with those. I'm getting myself confused here. I'm going to start over. Here's the first knot, as tight as possible. And then here's the second knot. And again, just really, really squeezing that tight. And then that one as tight as it will go. And then just kind of compressing around the edges to make sure it's a nice round shape and nice and tight in there. Now, I've cooked this a couple of different ways. I filled this stock pot with water, and then actually what I have done is just taken the ends of the towel here and tied it around these handles on the stock pot so that the pudding is hanging in the middle of the pot. You see how that works out there, hanging in the middle of the pot and not touching the bottom. This year I'm going to just set my mesh strainer, because I have a much nicer mesh strainer than I did before, and it'll set right there in the top of my stock pot, and just let this sit in here to steam. I think, I'm not sure now if the cover is going to fit on that, but I think if I squish it down a little, it'll fit just fine. If not, I'll end up with the tying method again. And then just fill this maybe halfway with water and put it on to boil for a couple of hours. I'll get you the exact number when I come back with the finished pudding. I have here the Christmas pudding, which I cooked for about 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think, and then just let it cool down for a few minutes so I can handle it. It's very hot when it first comes out. And this seems to be not quite as solid as previous Christmas puddings that I made, but it does seem to be done. It does stick a little bit to the cloth there sometimes. And then I'm just going to turn this out into a clean bowl here. Somehow, without it falling apart. I think I actually needed to tie this one tighter than I did even. But I'm sure when I re-steam it to reheat it later, it will all come together properly. Alright. So there's the Christmas pudding. You can see the one edge is falling apart a little bit, but the rest of it is nice and smooth like it's supposed to be. And then I'm just going to get a skewer and some rum and put some rum on there so it doesn't mold like the first year I did it. Traditionally they say you should store it for 4 weeks, and now I just make it 1 or 2 weeks ahead and put the rum on it, and that seems to work much better than just sitting around for 4 weeks. I'm sure there's some trick to the 4-week method, but I haven't figured it out. Just a couple tablespoons of rum. And pour it slowly so it can soak in. And then I'm just going to put the cover on the bowl and let it sit for, I guess it's a week and a half or so till we'll be eating it. And then I'll reheat it. Either re-steam it like I cooked it originally, or I may reheat it in the crock pot, and there are further details about reheating it and the brandy sauce on my blog. So you want to check out that link. And that's Christmas pudding.